one of the things which actually we learned at UVC is like how to operate under constraint mode. We used to go to Hotel Trupti to have lunch once in a week. That's what was allowed. When I started my journey, I wanted to work only in compilers. I thought like next 35 years I'll work in compilers. That didn't happen. Then actually, as people say, once you do that, actually it becomes a habit. It wasn't planned, but there was that intention. Okay, and there was let me take risk. If I have not done it, let me try. Like that was one of the biggest challenge because nobody expected that. So these are some of the uncontrollables, right? So teachers didn't know what software can do, what it cannot do. For example, in the US, I hardly travel to any customers. Problem is the most important thing. Getting into a group is very important because that builds that habit. So I should not feel guilty that I didn't put enough efforts. Entrepreneurs never fail. They win or they learn. I saw this on the back of an auto one day. Take a problem which you are passionate about. Okay. Never say no to interesting opportunities. Filter coffee any day. It's our duty to actually see how we can enable the next generation. So this is something it's our responsibility.
Hi, hello, namaskara. Welcome to UVCE Chronicles, an initiative by UVCE. I'm your host Keshava Karthik, and today we are joined with someone truly special, whose name echoes in the Indian startup and tech ecosystem, Mr. Suryaprakash Konanuru, fondly called as Suri by his friends and family. Now, if I were to walk you through his entire journey, I'll probably take an entire episode for that. But to cut short and give you guys a heads up, he is a proud alumnus from UVC from the 1988 batch from the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, who went on to pursue masters at IIT Bombay. Then he started his professional career at Wipro in the year 1990. Then there's no looking back. Now he stands tall as the CTO at Ideaspring Capital, a venture capital firm backing tech startups. But here at UVC Chronicles, we believe the best stories come from the person who lived them. So, without further ado, Suri sir, over to you. We would like you to introduce about yourself in your own words. The stage is all yours, sir.
Sure. Um, so I'm Suri, like by Suryaprakash, but you people call me Suri, and I'm the CTO at Ideaspring Capital now, as you mentioned. And before that, so basically we enable startups. That's how I look at it. Okay. And before that, actually, I was an entrepreneur over 15 years from 99 to 2015. I was actually did three startups, co-founded three startups in different areas, and with two exits. And before that, I was an engineer working in Wipro, building compilers and networking software. So actually, I say my journey has been engineer, entrepreneur, and enabler. Okay, that's how I look at it. Before that, if you see, as you mentioned, I studied at UVCE. We were the first batch of computer science
Okay, nice.
at UVCE. When we actually joined UVCE, like I joined in electronics department because there was no computer science course at that time,
Okay.
and it was brought in actually it started when we got into the second year. So we got an option to actually see whoever wants to actually move and has some good marks, like they can move to
Okay.
computer science. And there were about 25 of us who kind of took that bet,
Big
even
leap.
though,
Yeah.
yeah. No, basically, we took that leap of faith. That's maybe that's one of the second time I took a huge risk, I would say. Because when we went and talked to a lot of people, there were a lot of uh, basically two kinds of feedback, right? Some people said, yeah, computers is a good space to be in, so why don't you take it? But there were also a lot of naysayers, right? Basically, see, can you see that in the banks there is so much hartal going on, so computer will never come to India. So we heard even that. So, but
Okay.
again, we I decided that anyway, I'm going to study for the next 3 years. I'll study electronics or I'll study computer science. So I took a bet, and then actually uh, glad that it worked out. Yeah.
Okay.
And
That's nice.
before that, actually, I studied in National High School, National College. Uh, like the usual South Bangalore guys. Okay.
Yeah.
But till seventh standard, I come from a small town called Vijaypura, which is about 30 miles from Bangalore,
Mm.
just after Devanahalli. So that's where I did
Okay.
my initial studies and all that. And my
Mhm.
dad was a teacher, and my mom was a homemaker. And
Mhm.
then, yeah, like more as we go along.
Nice, nice, sir. That brings a truly remarkable journey, right? So, as you said about your early days and days at UC, probably we can shed more light upon that. How was your upbringing, and how are your friends? Do you meet them? Do you recall memories when you come to college? I've seen you when you came to the 5K run last week. So, how was it then? How do you feel?
Yeah, see, like uh, see those days, right? It was very different in the sense that uh, UVC was number one college in
Mhm.
uh, Karnataka, right? So we all used
Yeah.
to actually like wanted to get in there, whether you have
Mhm.
money or don't have money. Okay, so
Correct.
nowadays if you have money, people try to see like, okay, let's go to maybe a private college and things like that. But one of the things which actually like we learned at UVC is like how to operate under constraint mode. Okay.
Correct.
Maybe when the resources are less, how do you make it happen still, right? So that is that I would say a middle class mentality, like where we will make it happen. There was hunger, we want to succeed. So irrespective of what the challenges are, we all actually actually even many of my classmates have come from even uh, uh, background where they came from villages directly, okay, to college. Like at least I was in Bangalore for some time, right? So,
I
but we
see.
many
Yes, sir.
came from small tier two, tier three towns, and actually people have succeeded. Uh, uh, we were like there were people like especially like many of us were not English. We were afraid to speak in English, okay, because we came from that kind of background, right? So, so we overcame those challenges. So it was actually a good mix of, and we also had like basically like students who were actually, I would say, children of professors from IAC. So there was a good mix. There's a good
Yeah.
mix which actually like kind of helped us actually learn from each other and actually like and get through this whole thing. Yeah.
Nice, sir.
So yeah. And yeah, we remember like the every week we used to go to Hotel Trupti to have lunch once in a week. That's what was allowed
Okay.
with the pocket money. So things like that. Yeah, there are a lot of nice things. Yes,
Nice, sir. That was
and
very
many of
sweet.
us are still connected.
Mhm.
Like thanks to WhatsApp. So
Yeah.
and also like actually like Naganand who and I worked together. We were actually classmates in USC. So.
Oh, nice, nice. Yes, that was very sweet recalling all your memories. And the thing about the resources that you said that we are somewhat, even now, it is very much relatable that the students are constrained to certain resources so that they build up in that particular environment and they grow higher, right?
Yes, yes.
So that was very relatable. Thanks for sharing that insight. So you've gone from building engineering compilers at Wipro to becoming the CTO of Venture Fund. What inspired for you to take this transition from tech development to supporting startups as a venture capitalist?
Uh, See, like there have been cases where people have asked this question in the sense that did you plan
Mhm.
from becoming like from an engineer to become an investor?
Yeah.
The answer to that is no. Uh,
Okay.
Even if I wanted to, I wouldn't have been able to plan. Let me
Okay.
tell you that because uh, see it was a series of I would say accidents you can say, or I was at the right time at the right place and things
Mhm.
happened. But see the thing is okay like so I wanted to do tech work that was very
Mhm.
clear. Okay, and when I started my journey, I wanted to work only in compilers.
Mhm.
I thought like next 35 years I'll work in compilers. That didn't happen.
Okay.
So, uh, but as new opportunities came, I took it up. Okay.
Mhm.
For example, in 1999, I had a good job. I had good salary, like salaries were going up quite a bit in Wipro, right? 90 to 99. We really
Hmm.
had. Uh, I went to US, worked there, came back. So
Hmm.
it was all okay. So there's nothing. There was no need to change anything, right? If you
Hmm.
really see. But in 99, about 10 of us, we had built a product inside Wipro, and actually we said, okay, why can't we go out and start a company?
Hmm.
Because Wipro was becoming more services company, but this was a product which we had built inside. So
Hmm. Hmm.
when we thought about it, we said, yeah, let's try it out. Okay, let's see what, I mean, like worst case, okay, like yeah, we have to get a job again. So that's fine, right?
Yeah.
Uh, so we took that risk, saying that, okay, if something new comes, actually, you should try. You shouldn't say
Hmm.
no, unless it's really going to actually affect you so badly, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
we kind of took that risk, right? So that's how I became an entrepreneur. Okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
this year I became an entrepreneur because of, and I knew that okay, in a startup you work under constraints and you actually build newer things. So that's how I got into it. Basically, it was more for actually the how can I take an idea and then actually like bring it to fruition, right? That's that, and take it to market, take it to basically like people use it and things like
Hmm.
that. That's how we started our first startup.
Hmm.
Uh, then actually, as people say, once you do that, actually it becomes a habit.
Correct.
So after the first one got acquired in about 5 years, came back to India. Then we said, "Oh, okay, let's." We had done the first startup was completely for the US market,
Okay.
with
Okay.
broadband provisioning software for the ISPs in US and Europe. So
Hmm.
we
Hmm.
thought
Hmm.
let's do something for the India market. So
Okay.
let's come back to India and try something for India. We tried. We started a second startup called Yours Technologies in the healthcare space.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Sometimes this happened, right? Like we were too early to actually, the idea itself was too futuristic.
Okay.
So we had to pivot and do things. And then actually I took a break. After 20 years of continuous working, I took a
Hmm.
break and then actually taught at PESIT as an adjunct faculty for about three
Okay.
semesters.
Nice.
And then actually co-founded a third startup in the education
Hmm.
space. So
Okay.
that was again the idea was even when we started our second startup, we had these two ideas: one in education and another in healthcare.
Hmm.
Basically, because it has a lot of impact, it can
Correct.
really impact the society, right? So that was the
Hmm.
idea. So since second was in healthcare, the third one actually was in education.
Hmm.
Um, this was in 2010, and the whole idea was like uh, it's very tough to actually have one-on-one learning, teaching learning, because of the
Correct.
lack of number of teachers, right? So we said, okay, can technology scale it? Okay, so that's why we actually built a personalized learning software for actually maths and science, sold to about 200 plus schools, and there actually like the one of the other uh, um, I, I wanted to see because as I told you, my dad was a teacher, so I wanted to
Hmm.
see how actually technology can actually scale it up. Okay,
Correct.
that was there to
Yeah.
actually how does it work? Can
Hmm.
tech really scale it? What is the other effects it has and things like that, right? So
Hmm.
that was a very good experience, right? So basically, like so different sectors, different kind of users, different kind of buyers, right? So this
Correct.
was actually so three startups, and then that got acquired in to the I mean, like later, but like that also got acquired.
Hmm.
So as a technology person, my role is really really big in the first 4 5 years, in the sense that okay, like taking the idea, building the product, and things like that.
Correct.
Then actually I said, what next? So there's
Hmm.
always this question, right? What next?
Yes.
So
Yes.
I had kind of made a note to myself. I mean, like usually I don't do, but I had made a
Hmm.
note to myself telling I want to be associated with startups, but as an enabler,
Okay.
not delivery person, right? Like because I'd
Hmm.
done the delivery 3 times.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Correct.
So I thought that's maybe the next thing for me. Okay, to go
Hmm.
where I was a well, how can I help the next generation entrepreneurs? That's when actually I met Naganand after about 25 years. After
Okay.
college, we had not met. We met
Yeah.
actually at a startup event, and then he was actually like starting a fund. He was
Hmm.
thinking of that, and
Hmm.
then so we met, and then we said, yeah, okay, yeah, this is. He was actually telling me this will be the most appropriate, which I was also looking at very similar role, and that's how Ideaspring happened. Okay,
Okay,
and
nice.
so it wasn't planned, but there was that intention. Okay, and there
Mhm.
was let me take risk. If I have not done it, let me try. Okay, so and work hard. So that was the so. Now you will know that I wouldn't have been able to plan this.
Correct, correct, correct. Very true, sir. And the mention that you did about the risk-taking mindset that an entrepreneur should have, and all those things were truly inspirational. And talking about your education startup, the fun tool, actually we had enabled it in our schools. We had a small math session kind of a thing where we used to
Ah,
go
nice, nice.
once in a week or
In
something.
Mysore?
No, in Hassan, sir.
In Hassan. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Because
So,
I used to go to Hubli and all that, like those schools, like to go.
okay, okay, I see. So we had enabled that in our schools
Oh,
and we were using that. So that was a very good experience
oh,
for me
nice,
as
nice
well.
to.
Yes, sir.
No, see, that is what
So
gives happiness, right? When somebody has actually, when you build a product, finally somebody uses it, and then that's what gives a kick to an entrepreneur.
exactly.
Money will
Yes.
happen, but like that's
Yeah, yeah. Even why I can recall that is all of my classmates were thoroughly like interested to go to that one particular session in a week, so that they used to what skip the normal routine of normal daily classes
yes,
and
yes,
go have a very interactive good session. So that
nice.
kind of was a breath of fresh air for all of us.
Good,
So
good. Because like this is what actually I wanted to kind of do also, right? Like uh, humanly, it's not possible to touch so many kids, right?
exactly.
This
Yeah.
is a way where technology can help scale things. We will
Yeah.
not be able to replace teachers forever, but
Yeah.
the thing is like it can
That
enable.
remains as a support system, like
Yes, yes,
where teachers can't reach, it can reach. So
yes, yes.
yes, so that's a very powerful dream of yours, and that was a very powerful shift. I mean, from compilers to building startups and helping them. Yeah, that was a very inspirational journey. So moving ahead, you founded startups in three sectors. One is networking, one is healthcare, one is education. Which was the most challenging for you, and how did you tackle the challenges that are you?
See, all startups journeys are challenging. Okay.
Okay.
And it was different, right? So each had a different challenge. Like maybe like I thought like I can cover three in US and India. What are the kind of challenges? So that way
Mm-hmm.
actually like we kind of uh, the first startup actually was for the US market. So
Mm-hmm.
and also it was very tech heavy. Tech heavy in the sense of you sell to people who know tech.
Correct.
ASP is no tech. Okay, so you have to actually talk at that other level, right? Like the tech level,
True.
convince them how your tech is better and how it works, and basically explain them more technically than actually like. So that was so you need a tech person to actually like talk at that level and all those things. Even like it's a tech enabled sales kind of approach, right? So that
Mm-hmm.
was the and the other challenge, which biggest challenge we faced was actually surviving the funding winter. We actually like we started in '99 and 2000. You know what happened? Basically, the dot
Yeah.
com burst, and then
Was.
nobody was ready to give money. We went all the way till the last month.
Mm-hmm.
We're lucky that okay, we had customers and we were able to raise money. But like that was one of the biggest challenge because nobody expected that. So these are some of the uncontrollables, right? So whatever
Mm-hmm.
you can control. But like there are things when suddenly everybody says, "No, I'm not going to invest." What can you do, right? So that was.
Mm-hmm.
Then when it comes to India, like there were two challenges as compared to the US. Like challenges in US, right? So
Yes,
one is
market. Yeah.
there are many, but from a tech perspective, I will try to actually like tech and interacting with people, right? So that perspective, I
Yeah.
will talk about it. One is actually how do you make sure your software works with intermittent internet connection?
Mm-hmm.
Like basically, like you can't assume even just outside Bangalore, you cannot assume internet connection in schools will be always there. So
Yeah.
we had to build something which basically like software runs on the servers, in the school and on the cloud, syncing up. As you know, you were telling right, like all kids wanted to actually go and use this system, right?
Yes, sir.
So there were cases like where when the sync didn't happen for some reason,
Mhm.
kids used to cry because they lost those points.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Correct. Yeah.
so so it was those kind of, really, how do you make your software work even when there is no internet connection, and then actually how do you ensure there's continuity from school to home, home to school, all those kind of things. So those India, because of this, actually there were challenges in building the software also, right?
True.
The other thing when it comes to healthcare and education startups, as compared to a networking startup, is the people you actually interact with. So you interact
Mm.
with doctors, you interact with teachers, you interact with kids. Okay. So
Yeah.
that was very, very, it's refreshing, but also very challenging because
Mhm.
um, uh, being non-techies, uh, sometimes what used to happen is uh, teachers didn't know what software can do, what it cannot do also. They
Correct.
thought that okay, this can do everything. It can
Mhm.
replace them. I mean, like, because that's how because they don't know what the limits of the software, right? The limitations are
True.
there and things like that. So that was very different. Meaning, talking
Mhm.
to non-techies, I would say they're
Yeah.
techies in their own way, but like yeah.
Correct.
Uh,
Yeah.
so non-software people, and how do you actually overcome those apprehensions and actually like and still convince them to use this, right?
Mhm.
And how do you ensure software is very easy to use, so that
Mhm.
there is no like, hey, I don't know what will happen if something goes wrong. Then like, how do you build that robustness, right? And also very usability became very important. Actually, kids were very easy, because easy meaning they were very curious, right? Because of which they
Yeah.
learned how to use these things and all those things even before others could actually figure it out.
Yes.
But at the
Yes.
same, the feedback was without any filter. Okay, if something is
Mhm.
not good, they will tell on the face.
Correct. Correct.
It was a good mix of different challenges
Uh-huh.
and different kinds of users, different kinds of like in for example, in the US, I hardly travel to any customers. We all used to do everything over phone. There was no video
Mhm.
call, but we were doing everything over phone. Whereas here, I used to go to schools, I used to go to hospitals. So it's a very different world, and it's a different challenges and different journey. Yeah.
Mhm. Yes, sir. So the nitty-gritties that you mentioned for an entrepreneur is a gold mine, like tackling different markets and different end users with who have different mindsets, right?
Yes.
So all of them is a very challenging task, and the way how you overcame it was really helpful for all
No,
of
because we
us.
have to go and talk to customers, so that's very important.
Correct.
So that's
Mhm.
you have to have that open mindset. Otherwise, it
Yeah,
becomes very.
true, true, true. Yes, sir. So let's move on to the next question. As someone who sits on both the sides, you've been an entrepreneur, now you're an investor. So, what are the top three things that you look for in an founder or an early stage startup?
See, when it comes to an early stage startup, actually, what I would actually say, problem is the most important thing, in the sense
Huh.
that um, when it comes to a startup, like, see, founder is the most important, because like they are the ones who run this, they are one who bring the passion. So those being very important.
Mhm.
What I would say is, if people start questioning the problem itself, then it's over. Okay. From an
Mhm.
investor point of view, also, if I don't believe that the problem exists, or if the
Mhm.
customer doesn't believe the problem exists, then what are
Mhm.
you solving, right? So that becomes very, very important. Then it's as usual, like people look at like, okay, how big is this problem? How big is the market? Because
Yes,
finally,
yes,
uh, a startup is a business, right? So
true.
you may have passion and everything, but unless people pay money, like, it doesn't become a business, viable business. So because of that, all those things become very, very important. And as a tech guy, actually, for me, how tough it is to solve, how are you differentiated, becomes very, very important.
Yeah, yeah. So that was a very helpful advice. We heard that you're a running enthusiast and you do love photography as well. How do you manage to spend time for your hobbies between all these tasks?
See, running happens in the morning, so before the day starts. So
Okay.
that way, it's not very tough. Um, so the thing is like I started running quite late. Okay, it's not like I used to run before and whatever, but I got bored of walking, so I thought, what's the next thing I can do? So that's how
Okay.
actually running happened. I thought running is like simple because you run on your own and then you just buy a pair of shoes. Okay, but then actually I realized that okay, you buy a lot of other things. So, but the thing is, getting into a group is very important because that builds that habit. So till you build a
Yeah.
habit, it's good to have others who actually can kind of like force you or whatever, right? Or encourage
Yeah.
you.
True.
Both
True.
it's always carrot and stick, right? So that was good. But once you
Yeah.
get into that habit, if you start noting down what really that gives you, right? Like there is this
Mm.
after you may do the run, you feel happy. Okay,
True.
it gives you that happiness. Okay, and you feel active throughout the day. And so what happens is that once that becomes a habit, and then if you don't do it, you feel that okay, you kind of feel guilty.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
So that's how actually you kind of like get into it, and so that way actually you can continue doing it, and uh, the and photography uh, again. Something I picked up because I have very few photos of my own when I was a kid. So
Ha
I
ha ha.
thought like I should start taking pictures of basically family and things like that. But it became a hobby, and
Nice.
yeah, yeah. So there's nothing like I do all kinds of photography, but like now with the camera being there, everybody is a photographer. So it's
Correct.
also
Correct. Correct.
the technology has really scaled everybody to become a at least like a decent photographer, right?
True.
So,
True. True.
but the thing is, these two things are kind of opposite in nature. Uh,
Mhm.
Running gives you that concentration, right? You keep running. Uh, so
Yeah.
and how long you run, and things like that. Whereas
Yeah.
photography makes you stop and notice. Okay,
Hmm.
these two things
Exactly.
doesn't go together. So when I'm
Very
traveling and
true.
all those things, that's when the photography happens. Or when I go for a walk in Lal Bagh or whatever, something like that. Then actually, are walking and then now your camera is always with you, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But these two
Correct.
things don't go together, so you should mix and match some of this.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. Yeah, that's a very lovely way to put it. How you can have different hobbies, but they well delve into your lifestyle and how it impacts it, right? So that was very
Because you make
insightful for
memories,
you.
right? With the photographs, you show it to people.
Exactly.
So that's a good thing. Whereas the running is more about okay, how do you keep up your health? I mean, like all those kind of. So there are two
Yes, yes, yes.
different reasons for having these two hobbies, and as I told you, one I got bored and got into other one because actually I had very few pictures, so I thought my next generation should have as many as. So,
Yeah, yeah. Yes, sir. So that's nice to hear. Yeah. In your 30 plus year journey, was there a moment like the things didn't go as planned, and how did you navigate? How did you come out of that particular moment that, yeah, affected you?
yeah, see, there will always be, right? Like, there will always be moments where you are down. Like, it could be
Hmm.
as simple as like that day you wrote code and you lost it. Okay. Like when the
Mhm.
power went. So it can be
Yeah.
as trivial. That time it was not very trivial. but,
Uh-huh.
but the thing, right? Okay. So there have been cases where like personally professionally there will be downtimes downturns and all those things, right? You're in the top one day and the two as an entrepreneur, like one day product the two, if you're building something very technically challenging, you take two steps ahead one day and then five steps back on the
Behind,
other day.
yeah.
So basically the thing is to keep at it, right? And then actually like whenever there's a problem you think that okay, hey, this too will pass. It's just time. Okay, you give it time and things will actually like pass. So that's true for both professional and so basically like, when you're working with your back to the wall, you
Mhm.
basically like start working both hard and and also like with in an intelligent manner. Okay, you have to that's what actually works. So many times what happens is that like you can work very hard, but you may not see. But you have to also start thinking about where do I actually like work intelligently so that there is more outcome, right? So both will be required. So and at the same time, um, the way I used to actually like overcome many of these things is like I should not feel guilty that I didn't put enough efforts. Okay, that's how you overcome challenges. Because there will be cases where like you may work very hard, but you may still not work out. That's fine.
Correct.
Like as long as you are actually like so there was this what is that like this, entrepreneurs never fail. They win or they learn. Okay,
Uh-huh.
that's a nice way to put it actually.
Yeah.
So I saw this on the back of an auto one day.
Oh, nice.
Or I
Yeah.
like, no, or it said I never fail, or like I never fail, but like I either win or, and that's very true for like entrepreneurs, and that's how you overcome things. Meaning you
Exactly.
learn something, right? So you should never think that okay, whatever I'm learning also is not going to be useful. Never think that way. So and yeah, that's how you overcome things. Meaning like see, like because there will always be something. Some days yeah, it's very good. Some time it's not very good. So
Yeah. Yeah. So your optimistic approach to problems and the way you solve it was really helpful. Yeah, and the mention that you made of the entrepreneurial mindset that entrepreneur either learns or I mean succeeds or learns. It does not
wins
fail.
are they never
Yeah.
fail.
Yeah, and the mention that you made that it was written on the back of an auto was still, I mean, that was very funny and it was very, I mean, uh, helpful, right? So yeah, thanks for that. And now going for the advice for college students, what would you advise fresh UVC graduates who are just out of college who want to enter into the startup space or beat venture capital firm? Yeah, what advice would you give to them?
Okay, so let's take the startup. If somebody wants to do a startup, right?
Yeah,
So see that too. If you're fresh out of college, see like because like many of us did work and then did the startup. Okay, we worked,
correct.
acquired like experience or knowledge or whatever you call it, and then actually like did the startup. That's how we did. Okay,
Hmm.
so we took uh, we built startups based on what domain expertise we had acquired and things like that. And later we changed that also. Like I didn't have any
Hmm.
education or healthcare background, but I still went
Yeah, I
ahead and did
see.
it. Uh, Whereas the first startup was in the area where I had some expertise, right? So, um, so the way I look at it is fresh out of college. So basically, like you take a problem which you are passionate about. Okay,
Hmm.
because see the thing is there are a lot of fresh out of college kids who actually have built very good startups and things like that. So whatever you lack in experience, you make it from passion and building a good team around it who comes with experience, things like that. Okay, or you figure out on the job. Okay, so that so fresh out of college, pick up something which you can actually relate to and then
Hmm.
solve it. Okay, and really want to solve it. So that will keep you because there are ups and downs. So at least this passion will keep you going. So that's what I would
Hmm.
take. And get a team which knows more than you.
Hmm. Okay.
Okay, or team in the sense of advisor, whatever. Like you get like don't shy away from asking for help.
Hmm.
Shamelessly ask for help, is I would actually say.
Hmm. Hmm.
When it comes to VC space, um, we actually like we have a bias. Okay, like basically like uh, it's not just giving money, right? But also how can you help and all those things. So understand what value you can add before you jump in to become a VC. You have to have like more than money. What else can you do
Hmm.
to the startup after giving money, right? So and that is one thing. And the other thing, actually, I usually tell people before they get into the VC space is be prepared to know that you are not always in control. Because it's the entrepreneurs who run it. You can give guidance, you can actually ask them to do things, but you are not, you cannot run it for them, right? So you are not really in
Yeah.
control. So you should understand that you are an enabler. That's it. So people have to keep that in mind before deciding what they want to become.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
they should know. I mean, they shouldn't think that, Chalo, I'm giving money so I can control things. No, it's
Ha,
not.
ha, ha.
So,
Yes, yes, yes. That's a very nice mention about startups. Even you said that have a team that knows more than you, and ask for help. With shamelessly, without any hesitations. Also for the venture capital thing, you said that to keep a note that you are not in control at all the times. You are just an
yeah.
enabler, and you are not the complete owner of the firm or something like that. So that would be even my key takeaways from this question. So yeah, even I feel students who are watching this podcast would be thoroughly intrigued with this fact, and they'll make a note of it. Yeah. And what has been your key mantra for success for all these years?
Uh, See, all this actually is in, I would say, hindsight, right? Uh,
Mhm.
so whatever has worked for me is may not work for others, but this is what has worked for me.
Yeah.
Uh, as I told you, uh, never say no to interesting opportunities.
Mhm.
That was the first one. Okay. I'll give you a couple of examples. Like, okay, as I told you, the way I took computer science. It was an interesting opportunity. Said, chalo, let's try.
Yeah.
Even the way I became engineer was very similar. I never thought I'll become an engineer, but like, I someone said like whatever, like that's another story. Okay,
Yeah.
so basically, never say no to an interesting opportunity,
Mhm.
and then work hard. Okay, there's no substitute for
Mhm.
working hard, uh, and keep learning. So,
Mhm.
those, so usually people call and ask me like, "Hey, uh, I want to take up the next job. What do you suggest?" Or with some this,
Ah.
right? I usually have this one formula. I'd say 60 to 70% new job or prerequisites of the new job you should know, because
Mhm.
then you are useful to an organization almost immediately. Okay, and the next 30 to 40% should be something which you have to learn. That keeps it in for you.
Mhm.
That's the way I have always looked at. So some
That was a
formula.
very grounded advisor. I mean, these kind of advices you can't find it normally over the web. Like they say, either you join a job that you don't know anything about it, or you know everything about it. Some advices like this. This advice maybe I have not found out until now, and this will be very helpful for me as well
No, this is
and the
what
students.
actually like. So because
Yeah, yeah,
even when I joined hands with Nagalan for Ideaspring, that was the thing, right? Both of us actually were not from the um, we were entrepreneurs, but we had never done funding. But we
huh.
at least knew that okay, how does the startup work? How does they what is they needed? Things like that. So we were willing to learn about how to find startups, and meaning how do you actually go out and try to actually like talk to people and all those things, which at least for me it was something very new, because as an engineer I always sat in the office in front of a computer and build products. So for me that was a
Yeah.
huge change. So that was something I had to learn. uh,
Yeah, nice, sir. So until now we've come to around 30 minutes ish. So we'll have the one last round, which is the rapid fire round. This is
uh,
a fun segment that we plan to introduce from this episode, starting with
okay,
you.
oh, from this episode, okay.
Yeah. So I'll ask you a couple of questions. There are only a four, five questions. So maybe you can try answering those.
Yeah,
So one book every entrepreneur should read.
since I come from product building kind of world,
Uh-huh.
there is our innovation is important, right? So there is this one book called Innovators DNA by Jeff Dyer. I think like one should go through because it talks about like how to build innovative products and things like that. And I believe startup is about innovation. So
Yeah, yeah. Nice. So, your favorite travel destination?
favorite travel destination. Uh, Wherever I have gone already, I'll mention. Okay, which I
Yeah,
like.
yeah, sure.
US, it would be San Francisco.
Ha 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 ha.
Like I
Nice,
just love that Gate Bridge and things like that. So I never get tired of that. Uh,
nice.
India, I would say Kedarnath.
Oh,
Yeah, it
nice,
was
nice.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
so different.
Ha ha
Basically,
ha
like
ha.
it's something where there is devotion, there is beauty, there is you can do photography, you can do trekking. So it's a good
Yeah.
combo, right?
Yes,
So,
yes, yes.
yeah.
It can handle like multiple
Yes,
types of uh, these things you have. A tech trend that you're most excited in 2025.
quantum
Quantum. Nice. That's so nice. Coffee or filter coffee?
filter coffee any day.
Yeah. Nice. One word that your team would use to describe you.
Actually, I asked some of my colleagues today
Okay.
because
Nice.
I shouldn't answer this. They should tell me, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
I could relate back to my ex-colleagues also, right? Uh, uh, Problem solver is what came out. Okay,
Okay, okay. That's a
and
very nice mention. Ha, ha,
yeah,
ha.
yeah, and then I can relate to my very early days also. People used to call me the debugger.
Okay, I see.
So if there is
Nice,
any
nice.
problem, I'll go and actually try to solve.
Okay, okay, okay. Nice, nice. That is a nice mention, sir. So, yeah, here we come to an end of the rapid fire section, and probably we can wind up this podcast,
Hey, yeah,
right?
thank you for the opportunity. Hope this will be useful to all the listeners,
Yes,
especially students.
yes, sir, yes, sir. And thank you very much for your for you taking time out from your busy schedule. And this will be a great gold mine of advice for all the students out there, be it be they have passed out from the college and they're working and trying to switch their career paths and having different career trajectories, or somebody who's new to the college planning out on different
Hmm.
careers. It will be a very helpful conversation for all of them. And yes, thank you very much for joining in. And that's it for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was great to be part of this, and it's our duty to actually like see how we can enable the next generation. So
Mhm.
uh, this is something we it's our responsibility.
Yeah, yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir.